The second game on this episode we're going over is Lift It.
Yes, it's designed by Gauding. The artist is Oliver Freudenreich, and it's published. Wasn't this USAopoly?
Yeah, the version I have.
Yes. Okay.
I'm assuming it has all the publishers from the different
it's got
areas.
lots of different ones. Yes.
Yeah. Lift It is a pretty simple game if you're not familiar with it. If you've ever been to a convention, you'll see people wearing a crane on their head and lifting objects and placing them on top of each other, dexterity style. That is Lift It. Basically, you have this crane piece that has a string that has a hook, and you hook that hook onto a big hook. The reason you do that is because if you're playing teams, 2 players are going to hook their small hook onto this big hook and control the big hook together. And then the game's pretty simple. There's a deck of cards that shows you construction things that you have to put together and what pieces to use and how to actually stack them. And they either are easy, medium, or difficult. And that determines the amount of time that you have, which I thought was, is it 40, 60, 80?
I think it goes up even further than that.
Yeah, there was a 120, I thought.
There is a 120.
Is there? Okay, well, anyway, there's a length of time that you have. I don't think any of them are more than 2 minutes, though.
I think it's 40, 80, 120.
Maybe it was like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, you will flip over a card.
Quickly, also, it's just in one deck as well. You don't get to choose.
Well, right. Yeah, you shuffle them and stuff. Right. So the way it works is there's a score track. And if you're playing teams or individuals, it works the same. As you move along, the space kind of determines a few things. The biggest thing, we'll come back to that. But basically, you're going to flip over a card. And you have that amount of time to actually stack these objects. They have on the board, there's locations where these objects stay. And if you're trying to visualize it, basically just picture like standard like I-beams and stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but basically it's like a rectangle block, but it has holes all in it so the hooks can grab it. And they're just brightly different colored plastics.
Yeah, there's like a circle and there's a big tube and
different 3D objects, and they're all wiffle.
Right.
Yeah, wiffle. That's a good way to say it.
Right.
So you're trying to stack those up according to the card. It is pretty lenient unless you do a variant where you have to be very specific, but basically it has to be a 2D plane. So if you stack a square on top of a rectangle, it doesn't matter if it's shifted and it looks like it's going to fall. It's in the right order. It's not, look at it more of like a 2D plane than a 3D like examination. It makes more sense when you actually play it, but it's impossible to get it perfect. So you have to have a little bit of leniency.
That's true.
Yeah. But basically the space that you're on for your score track will determine how you get to perform this card. And most of the time you're going to be holding the crane in your hand, but there's also spots on the board that'll force you to attach it to this strap that you put around your forehead. And now you're using your forehead basically to move the crane. So obviously much more difficult. There's another one which will make the player to your right or another team, or your teammate explain what the card is because you don't get to see it. So you're putting this thing together without knowing what to do. So your teammate has to describe it, or if you're playing single player, the person to your right or whatever does it. And there are, as you move along the score track, which you get points by completing these, by the way. So if you, in the timed ones, you get a point for everything that you get correct. So if it's a 5-piece construction and you get 3 of them stacked, but then you run out of time, you get 3 points. If you finish this 5-piece thing, you get all 5 points, but then you get a bonus, I believe, of 4. So you would score 9 points. There are little, like warning tape between some of the spaces on the board, which will make you go into like challenge mode. So you're going to challenge another team or another individual. And when that happens, when you go and you have a challenge card activated, then basically you're just going to go up against another team to try to complete it faster. Same rules apply. It's either everybody uses their head or they use their hand or whatever. And you just keep playing until a certain amount of points are scored, which is basically, oddly enough, the scoreboard is from it. It's like a Euro board, so it's like all around the edges, but it goes from like one side to the next side, and then it's mirror imaged of a scoreboard on the other 2 parts of the square of the. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. You go across 2 sides of the board from one diagonal to the other across 2 sides.
Yeah,
right. Instead of all the way around.
Right. But the other,
it's probably a short game, long game kind of thing.
It doesn't make any sense though, because like they're the exact same score track.
Right.
There's no reason.
Yeah, they should have made the other one harder or something.
Or different in some
Or
fashion.
different, like a
Right.
different layout of items and stuff.
Agreed.
So, anyway, what do y'all think about this one?
Well, I think having said all that about the rules and everything, that's all rubbish. Don't play with those rules. Just play the game, dual mode all the time. Ideally 6 players, so you have 3-person teams, one person telling you what to do by reading the card out, so you don't see the card.
Make your own game.
And you're playing with the thing on your head all the time, and then it's fantastic.
House rule George.
Yeah, George house ruled the crap. Well, I don't necessarily disagree with you because the rules are kind of meh, but at the same time, the game is a lot of fun. But in certain aspects,
in that particular configuration, it's fantastic.
yeah, I like the teams are really good. Actually, you probably play it individuals as well. But the only problem with that is I don't understand in the individuals how another person's supposed to be telling you what to do.
And they're not on your team.
Yeah,
thing.
like here, let me help you out. I'm forced to. You know what? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to have that option only in team mode.
In teams, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I agree. It was fun at first to do the teams and hold the hook, but then you realize how you can cheat the system. One person just basically goes limp, and the other person controls it.
Yeah.
Right.
It ends up being no fun.
Putting it on the head, though, is fantastic.
Yes, put it on the
Right.
head is actually
It
really fun.
Changes up
Hilarious.
the game
Yes.
quite a bit versus, just doing it with your hands.
Yep. And the other thing I don't like about the challenge where you're challenging another team is that it's all or none, according to the rules. Like, because there's no timer at that point, you don't use the time. It's whoever completes it first,
Gets all the points.
which means they always get all the points, including the 4 bonus points, which doesn't make any sense to me. I think that it should be timed, and then once the time stops, whoever is furthest along on the building of it, gets however many points without the bonus points.
And the other team gets some points based on what they've done?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, the losing team doesn't get anything.
Oh.
Well, we'll say that
Like somebody wins, but that way it stops it from being like, all right, for instance,
you have unlimited time.
you have unlimited time technically to score the max points. You either score max points or you don't score any points for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing individually, you have a chance at not finishing it and only getting like 2 points. And so what I'm saying is in the challenge mode, one team has a very awesome chance to go really far on the board.
Right.
If you included a time limit, then they lose that chance now. It becomes let's speed up and do it fast, not just faster than the other team, but faster than the clock so that we can still get the bonus points instead of always getting the bonus points.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Sure.
Matt, what'd you think about this one?
I mean, y'all have pretty much said everything. Especially, I think everything George said was great for the house rules. I look at this as more of an activity.
Yes.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
So it would be kind of like Telestrations. I don't necessarily know that I would even care to keep score. I do. I'm saddened that we didn't get to do the blind build at all in our playthrough.
Yeah.
So
there's only a couple of spots on the board.
Yeah, I was kind of upset by that, but I will.
Speaking of blind build, blindfolded build.
What?
Where your teammates like, all right, move forward, go down,
Yeah.
come across. All right,
Oh
pick that up.
Yeah. Just get double time or something.
Unlimited time. That'd be amazing.
Well, I wouldn't say unlimited time.
No, but it's a duel. It's team against team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in that case.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be so hard.
Yeah.
So if you make up your own rules, it could get a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it just kind of lacks in a few areas where you could come up with some house rules to improve. I will say I do remember seeing this at Gen Con, and it was a lot of fun to walk by and see people playing this.
Yeah, it is very entertaining to watch.
But again, when you're walking by them doing it, they weren't playing the game. They were just doing an activity that looked interesting and fun. I
Yeah.
don't think they were actually playing the game.
it's like flip over card, you got 2 minutes, go.
Yeah.
All right, you're done.
Oh,
Cool.
you like the game? Buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, we got themed Walking Dead games.
Yeah. By the way, we own a lot of
Yeah,
IPs.
we got a lot of IP.
So
Walking Dead lifted.
this, yeah,
You have to build your barricade.
that'd actually be kind of a cool like theme to it. Like,
Just
all right,
mash
you all
it up.
work on building the barricade. We're gonna be over here building the weapons.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Just add it to Dead of Winter.
for this side of the table, I think mostly. What if this was a drinking game? How would that go?
That'd be even better.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
After a couple drinks, sure. It could turn out to be a lot funnier.
It would be a lot of fun.
It would be great. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, Eric's gonna implement this at some point. I'm gonna assume.
Sure. So yeah, I think it's a decent filler. It is a lot of silly fun. I don't feel that you would bring it out to a lot of just normal game days.
Yeah.
Just because how it is.
It is pretty short though.
It is, and that's why I say, maybe as a filler or every now and then, you might break it out, or you might break it out for new people to experience.
Yeah.
So I don't see you.
It's
breaking
probably
it out
one
all
of
the
those
time.
games.
Yeah.
Every time you get somebody new, all right, let's this is ridiculous. Let's play this.
Or I would say it's also good with kids. I see a lot of kids, that would like it.
Speaking of that,
and
I just
parties.
open it and Theron will just play with the hooks and grab the pieces and stuff.
Right.
It's like entertainment value.
Oh
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah, for kids for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I did feel like a lot of the cards were maybe they were too lenient with the time given. You have 40 seconds to build this, but I did it in 15 seconds.
And then they've got some. It's like you got 40 seconds to never complete this one.
Right.
Yeah,
Some of them
they're
were
so inconsistent.
right. So I think that kind of had problems with it, and they might have done so because someone's going to be doing it with someone telling them how to do it. Plus, they're going to have it on their head.
Could be,
So
yeah.
we got to give them time for that. But if you're doing it
Yeah.
with your hand, you don't need all that time. So maybe if they broke it out into better decks, maybe a hard, medium, easy deck, or do these if these times are for the times that you're going to do it with your head, and these are for your hand. So
Yeah.
I would like to see kind of those kind of changes.
Dual mode
Dual mode.
all the time.
Yeah. Then you don't care about the time.
Yeah, the dual mode was probably one of the funnest things.
Yeah.
Because it is straight racing against other people too. It's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, cool. I recommend this. I think if you find it for a cheap price and you don't mind gimmicky style games, this is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I'm
'cause
surprised we
it's-
got through this whole thing without saying gimmicky until just now.
Yeah.
Way to go, Tim.
It pretty much is a big gimmick, but it's an awesome gimmick.
It is.
Yeah.
There are a few games that are similar to it that I wrote down. Make and Break is a
Oh
game
yeah, I
that's
like Make and Break.
a really good one.
Have
And
I played this?
No.
I think it gets it right as far as it uses the same idea of having a track, and depending on where you land, that tells you what you have to do. But in Make and Break, all of those options are fun, and they're all challenging, and there's lots of different ones. So you're not going to
Right.
get the same thing every time. So Make and Break is a building game with blocks.
I would say I don't know. I like Make and Break better if I had to choose between the two.
But is it because of that
I don't-
part of it, or is it the actual activity that you like better?
Maybe it's the activity. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Into the pit.
It's
No, I
a
was
bit-
kidding.
yeah.
Yeah. Another one that it's similar to is Castle Knights, which is a Haba game where you have players that have a string, and everyone has an end of the string, and when you pull it, it changes the shape of this sort of rectangular piece in the center, and you have to get that around a piece and then tighten it and then lift it and put it where you want it to be, all working as a group, because the amount of tension on the string will determine whether you drop it or not.
Oh, that
interesting.
actually sounds really cool.
It's really good, and it's a it's a Hobbit
So you
game.
got to make the strings taut.
Yeah, taut.
Well, if you overdo
flashlights.
it,
Inside joke.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Matt and I went to True Dungeon at Gen Con. This guy said taut about 9 million times.
Yes.
No, make them taut. Make them taut. You got to make them taut.
It was a rope puzzle. We used a lot of ropes, and they needed to be very taut.
Very
very taut.
Very, very taut.
Taut.
as you're breaking the strings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another one that it reminds me of is called Monster Fall, where you have a box and you have to maneuver your monster piece on the box down different corridors that are like a maze. But one of you controls left and right movement, and the other one controls up and down movement with these levers. And so that's a really clever.
Because everybody's multiple people are controlling the same object.
Two people are controlling the same object.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to really work together to do it quickly, and it's this sort of similar idea.
That's cool.
And they're probably all superior games, but this one is right in that category. I think it's a very fun game.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a bunch of kids and stuff too, this is a really good choice, I think. Because they're just going to have a lot of fun with it.
Sure.
As long as they don't get super distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a winner.
Final thoughts? Anything else?
Yeah. Kids party.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Drinking game.
Drinking game.
Drinking game. Yeah. Those three things.
I think you should get 2 copies of the game and then have 4 teams.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely agree.
Anyway, that's Lift It.